Oh my god, hi! Look at, everything is going to be right with the world. Fingers crossed, because I'm platinum again. It feels so good to be back. It feels so good to have survived my identity crisis. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about foundations. Foundations. Specifically foundation shades, and we are going to be testing a new foundation, a new matte foundation, from NARS. I don't know why I'm only holding two. I have 3 of them. So NARS recently sent me a lovely PR delivery with some gorgeous lilies. It was very, very sweet of them. This is their new foundation. It's called the, can I get a name? Natural Matte Longwear Foundation. Weightless wear, soft blur, soft focus blur. So I'm interested in this specifically because I've been sort of like stagnant when it comes to the foundations that I've been using. Now there is a reason for that, and I do kind of want to get into that. I want to talk about the shade ranges of these foundations, particularly because so many of the people who follow me, you even, might have a very similar skin tone to me. Now, I, for anyone who doesn't know, have a very pale, I would say I'm like on the edge of light, but I'm like pretty pale. I guess I've come to the conclusion that I'm a warm neutral olive because I am able to sort of like shift a little bit closer to some cooler colors. I can be a bit of a chameleon in that way, but I personally believe that I look best in slightly warmer tones. So for instance, when my platinum hair is like a little bit more buttery, which it's like a little cool tone, like a little slightly more cool toned right now, pretty white, warmer colors, warmth looks good on my skin. Something really, really dead and like pale, like grays, like they just don't look good on me overall. That being said, being an olive person, whether you're anywhere on the spectrum of olive, can be really, really difficult to find the proper undertones for you. And there are some brands who are doing it. There's some brands who are doing it, okay? And one of the reasons that I haven't really branched out from my foundation use is because Lisa Eldridge, About Face, House Labs, like they just have the olive tones, especially for those of us who are pale, down. Like they just do. So I was very interested in this foundation when I received it, but so often when I receive complexion products, people will send me, you know, as close to my undertone as they can get, which usually ends up being a little too dark, which isn't great for those of us who are really, really pale because for whatever reason, brands think that pale people are pink all the time. Oh, and that was absolutely the case here. These are just way too dark for me. But even these colors, even the colors that were sent to me are quite yellow and orange, and I have found that to be the case with a lot of NARS foundations. There are other brands that have also had this problem. I do feel like MAC tends to like lean that way. Even their olive tones tend to be like a little bit too like yellowy orange. Makeup Forever has always had this problem with me. And obviously I'm a very pale person, so my experience with the shades is going to be more so in the pale range. But yeah, even the recent reformulation with Armani Luminous Silk, the lighter shades, though they did start to include a little bit more of the like olive and ultramarine tones into their foundation, like the pigments into their foundations, were still quite orange. So I want to try this, but this is, I guess, a little bit of a plea to brands to just like follow suit. There are so many brands who are just like changing the game when it comes to including olive skin tones. And I would just implore all of you to step it up, just step it up like a little bit. So I'm going to use the shade Mont Blanc, I guess, which you can even just see from the packaging that it is a little bit too on the orange, like yellowy orange side. And I will give you swatches of all of them so that you can see the differences in case you are just happy you happen to be like kind of around my skin tone. Let's do that first. The formula does feel quite nice, I have to say, like hydrating-ish for a matte foundation. And one of the reasons that I was interested in trying this is because, first of all, like I said, I haven't tried a new foundation in a really long time. I also haven't tried a matte foundation in a really long time. And it used to be kind of my go-to, like my favorite formula. And when I swatched these earlier, it has like a very nice kind of like lightweight feel to it. So that made me just like a little bit interested. You also have to bear with me, and I would love your feedback on my background and current lighting situation. Since becoming blonde again, I've had to like reset lighting and backgrounds and all of that kind of stuff. I'm also like trying my light background that I used to use, although it looks very gray. So please let me know, like, do you hate it? If you hate it, let me know. Right now I'm looking in the monitor, it looks so washed out. So we'll see how this goes. Damn, these are really orange. Okay, so we have right here, we have Mont Blanc, okay? Then in the center we have Duavie, spelled like Duville. And then we have Vienna right here. Oh wait, sorry, Vienna right here. The end is Vienna. So you can see how yellowy orange these shades are. Now, Mont Blanc is like the closest one to me, and I mean, that's not my skin tone. So that's one of the deterrents when it comes to trying new foundations. But I can make this work. I actually can. And I have a really, really good video that I'm gonna pop right up here that is specifically about how to make a foundation that's like not quite the right undertone work for your skin tone. So that video will be extremely helpful, especially if you're like me and there's a lot of foundations that end up looking like a little too orange or pink on you. Okay, so I'm actually going to apply one side with a sponge and the other side with a brush so that we can kind of see how it differs, considering this is a matte foundation, soft matte foundation. I did prep my skin using two like lightweight hydrating serums, a vitamin C serum, and then my CeraVe moisturizer. So like this is typically how I prep my skin, so nothing has really changed. So I'm gonna go in with a slightly damp beauty blender to begin with. You can definitely see, I can see in the mirror, I don't know how well you can see on camera, the peachiness of this. It's looking quite peachy. But I will say, even with a damp sponge, the coverage is looking quite nice. Is the coverage defined? Natural matte long wear. I mean, it just says weightless wear. I'll have to look it up. It feels a little bit similar. It has sort of that like liquidy, like satiny almost feeling to it that the House Labs foundation does a little bit, but it feels like it gives more coverage, like quite a bit. Like just that gives a bit more coverage right off the bat than the House Labs foundation. Dude, is he mowing or is it like one of those things that like the weed whacker type situations? I used to love doing that when I was a kid. Weed whacking. There's a hair on my face and I'm gonna explode if I can't get it off. Yeah, I mean, it's very much like canceling out the green tones in my skin, which I don't want to do because I am green. I have to say though, it's applying beautifully. I actually really like that. I think that's nice. For someone like me who tends to get like a little more oily in the T-zone, I think that looks nice. All right, let's try the other side with a brush. So I think I'm actually gonna use my 38 brush for this. Yeah, fuck it, I'm going to. I mean, it's actually the AAO one, but it's the same brush, which is back, by the way. I can't remember if I've said that. It's been back for like a second, but I know some people like to apply foundation with it. Yeah, especially, I feel like it's starting to, there are those foundations that like, as they start to oxidize, will set darker. And that's usually when like the true tone, you can like really see the true tone come out. Oh damn, I can like, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I can really see the difference in color like on my jawline to my neck. And you know, there's like a thing to like taking a little bit of foundation down your neck to like blend it, but like this isn't a photo shoot. You know what I mean? Like For daily wear, I don't want to have to take my foundation down my neck. Like if it's not a match, that's not an excuse. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of brands will say, you know, blend things down your neck to make sure, or makeup artists will say blend things down your neck. And it's like, yes, if you're doing a photo shoot, then it makes sense. That's completely fine. Like, do you necessarily have to have the perfect shade match? Because it is the makeup artist's job to make everything look like cohesive. But when you're a person who's just trying to do your makeup for the day, you're not trying to, you know, have to take makeup onto your ears so that everything looks cohesive. I just feel like that's like a lot to ask a person who either is just like a casual makeup wearer or even an advanced makeup wearer. Like if you're doing your daily makeup, I just feel like that's a little bit ridiculous. Okay, so using the brush on this side, I'm just patting in the areas where I want like a teeny bit more coverage and just making sure that I have like a nice even application. It does look ever so slightly more matte, I think, on my left side. There's a little bit more of that like hydrated look to the right side considering I used a damp sponge, but I would say like they look pretty even. They look pretty even. So I feel like it works well, at least for my skin type. I think it works well with both brushes and sponges. I just can't get over that color difference on my hand. My skin is very evenly colored. Like my face is the same shade as my arms, like the inside of my arms, the outside of my arms. Like I'm not a person who's out in the sun much. And when I am out in the sun, I'm wearing sunscreen. So I'm not like tan. So it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, you use this shade in like the winter and you can use this shade in the summer. It's like, no, I'm the same color all year round. Like I'm not laying out in the sun. So that major difference it's disappointing. It's just like kind of disappointing. Now this is shade L2. I want to give the foundation like a second to just kind of like settle in before I give you a deep zoom so we can just kind of like see how it reacts to a moving face. So let's look up the shade range and what its claims are. Mont Blanc, no. What's it called? Natural Matte. NARS Natural Matte, $55. There was another NARS foundation that I was thinking about picking up, and multiple times because I feel like I'd read good reviews about it, but the thing that kept me from making the purchase was the shades. Every time I looked at them, whenever I looked at swatches, I was like, that looks orange, that looks like peachy, that looks like it just wasn't correct. They didn't have anything that looked right for my skin. Gotta deny the cookies. Hold on one second. Oh my God, I hit allow all. Chaos and destruction. Okay, so L2 Mont Blanc is the lightest one that they sent me. They do have L1 Oslo, which is described as very light with cool undertones, which would not apply to me. Then they have 3 shades that are only on the NARS website, which is interesting. Yang Yang, which is L0.5, which is described as very light with cool undertones. And then they do have the lightest shade is called Siberia, which is L0, which is described as very light with warm undertones, which I would have liked to try. We do run the risk of that being like way too light, but considering this is like at least a shade or half a shade dark for my skin, I think that would have been nice to try. That being said, foundation looks kind of nice. All right, let's deep zoom. I can see a teeny bit of settling in my smile lines. And the lines on my forehead. Teeny bit of settling. Teeny bit more dew. Teeny bit more dew on the side that I applied using a damp sponge. Pretty good coverage, I would say. The peachiness is more obvious around my nose and chin, those are areas where I tend to get a little bit more redness. And like over here, where I can really see that it just does not match my neck. But overall, I don't hate the finish right now. Like, I think it looks kind of nice. And I like the coverage. The coverage is nice. I appreciate the coverage. So Kylash is one of the shades that's only on the NARS website, but that is L1.25, which is described as a very light with warm undertones and a peach tone, which is interesting. In the swatches on the arms, it's very difficult to go by those swatches. That looks closer to my skin tone and a little bit lighter than Mont Blanc. Siberia might be a little bit too light, and it's definitely more on the yellow side, like a very, very pale yellow. So that would have been nice to try, because the shades after that are very, very, very yellow and orange. Like very yellow and orange for like a while. So, of course, it says 24 hours of shine control, because foundation brands, they love to say this. Like 24 hours, 48 hours, like as if you're going to be wearing your makeup that long. But they're just trying to like hammer home. It's long wear. Pore perfecting formula that won't let you down. High performance, medium to full coverage. I would agree with that. It does seem, sometimes a foundation is described as medium coverage, and to me, it's not quite there. But medium to full coverage, I would absolutely agree with. I think it's actually like very much in that place where you can kind of like shear it out slightly for a more medium coverage. And if you apply a little bit more, or just kind of like adjust the way you're applying it, it can switch to a full coverage like pretty quickly. So I appreciate that. And I also like the sort of lightweight feel that it leaves on the skin. It says soft focus effect, instantly blurs. I would say I definitely see a soft focus for sure. I don't know if I would say like it's so blurring, but it's definitely not like intensifying texture, which is nice, which I do have a little bit. However, I do see a little bit of settling in lines, like I said. And it says that it has advanced skincare technology, which is very vague, which will visibly improve skin texture over time while improving pore appearance in 2 weeks. Serum-like formula is unexpectedly lightweight and breathable for optimal buildability. With a natural matte finish, works over time every time. Oh my God, copywriting. SLES and SLS, which I'm allergic to, so that I appreciate that. Although I think that's for like lathering stuff, so I think typically you're not gonna find SLS in a foundation. Okay, and I don't know enough about ingredients. I was kind of hoping for like, I mean, there's squalane, niacinamide like towards the bottom, lactic acid towards the bottom. That's interesting. Glycerin towards the like middle top. Okay. Yeah, I'm interested. I'm definitely interested. All right, I'm going to finish off my base. I'm gonna go in with concealer and all of that stuff. And since I mentioned that video, I'm not gonna show you this in this video, but what I will do, considering this foundation is slightly peachy, and when I'm looking, it's like, I can see a little bit too much orange. What I'm gonna do is try to bring a little bit more of the yellow back to my skin by using a slightly lighter concealer that trends a little bit more yellow. So for me, that's probably going to be my House Labs concealer. If I can find it, yeah, it's right here. In 01 Fair Neutral, which is actually like a pretty light and slightly more yellowy color. And that's just going to kind of help to balance, like I'm gonna place that in the areas where I would highlight. So like underneath my eyes, here, and that will help to balance a little bit and bring a little bit more like dimension to the face, and kind of like just balance the tone. I think I like this foundation. Yeah, I think I like it. Okay, so I went in with cream contour bronzer blush. I didn't apply any highlight, and I did set in just the center of my face, basically, like the areas where I need a little bit more coverage. I don't want it to slip around at all. Like I want it to really stay put. So like my T-zone, I set obviously underneath my eyes, and then around my temples where I just need a little bit more coverage, you know, like where I spot concealed or whatever. I'm very happy with the finish. I really like the coverage. The color's not right, but I'm glad that I checked the site. I think I might pick up whatever the hell that name was. I don't remember. It was something crazy. Palagash or something like that. I don't remember. I know that it says that it leans a little bit more peachy, but based on the swatches, it looks closer to my skin tone. When comparing shades online, one of the best things to do is to like Google swatches, and a lot of the times that's really hard to do for like a brand new foundation. So if you're not able to swatch it in person, sometimes it's best to just like wait until some swatches pop up online. If for whatever reason you would benefit, like I've done some swatch videos in the past, like with my specifically like, you know, swatching all of my foundations to find my olive complexion tone, the best match. If it would be really useful for me to put something like that on the internet, just like images, so that you can compare, like maybe whenever I get a new foundation, that kind of thing. Like, I don't know, maybe I could have like a Google Doc or something where we could have that resource. Just let me know, you know, if I get enough people saying that, then I would do it. Anyway, let's zoom in and check it out, because I am actually like quite pleased. I'm quite pleased. I do feel like this finish is quite nice for my skin type. I will say something that I have struggled with is finding the correct balance. This is actually something that I'm gonna make a video on in like a second. Is finding the correct balance between my skincare and the finish of my foundation. And prioritizing skincare is something that's really, really important to me. And I want to make sure that I'm using products daily that are going to give me like the best benefits. And a lot of the time, based on my complexion, like my skin type, those skincare products will like just not mesh with a lot of my foundations, because my foundations tend to be like a little bit more on the oily side, or the dewy side, I guess. So I have been kind of craving a soft matte foundation, and I do like this formula. I would say, you know, I saw a teeny bit of settling in like my smile line and in lines up here, and I am realistic. I have lines in my face. When you have creases, creasing can happen. You know, makeup isn't magic. That being said, I'm gonna wear this and I will keep you guys updated on like how it develops, basically. Like, I think I'm gonna continue using this foundation. I think I'm probably gonna pick up that other shade, because this definitely is not the correct shade for me. Like, it just is not. I think we were able to kind of like make it work, but it is not the right shade. But it worked well with all my other products, and I was able to use a slightly more balmy blush on my cheeks, and it didn't make my skin look, it gave me like a nice glow. It didn't make my skin look too oily. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with it. Like, I like the finish. I think it's nice. It's also been a minute since I've worn like a more full coverage foundation. And I'm liking it. I'm liking it. So overall, I'm pretty pleased. I am pleased. I like it. I don't know if it's necessarily worth $55, because that's an expensive foundation, especially considering the tone is not right. But if you really want to see, like, if you are invested in this foundation formula, let me know, and I will pick up that other shade that I think will be closer, so that I can let you know, and we can do swatching and maybe some more testing to see if it might work for you. Because I am pretty happy with the finish, like I am, you know? So I think it's something that I'm going to continue using. I do think that we were able to like sort of balance it a bit with my little concealer trick, using a slightly lighter concealer that's a little bit more on the yellowy side. Like, I don't think that if you're just looking at me, you'd be like, oh my God, her foundation is like so not the match, you know? But like, I can see that it's not right. I can see that it's not right. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you need me to pick up the other foundation shade? Have you any interest in this? Have you been switching up your foundation formulas? I would say that typically, like in the winter, I would probably go a little bit more towards something like slightly more dewy, just because like it gets more dry. That being said, I live in Los Angeles. The difference between like summer and winter isn't so drastic, so switching between formulas isn't like complete necessity. Let me know if you want to see side-by-side swatches, updated side-by-side swatches with my other foundations, because these shades are not olive. Like, they're not olive. Not these shades. And I doubt, to be honest with you, that even that shade that I looked up that might be a little bit closer. I doubt that it has an olive tone. My guess would be that it's like a little bit lighter and slightly more yellow. And because I have quite a bit of yellow in my skin, I feel like it'll, you know, might work a little bit better. But who knows? Maybe it's super peachy. It's honestly, brand descriptions of undertones and like the value of foundations and even their swatches can be so misleading. So it's a struggle, dude. Online shopping is a struggle. Anyway, I hope that this was informative in some way. Yeah, I want to do more like testing videos of like slightly newer products because I've been neglecting that. So if you have any specific products that you've been interested in, let me know in the comments down below. I can pick it up, or maybe I have it and I can test it for you. Okay? And also I really do need feedback on my backdrop, on my lighting, and how things are looking because I need to adjust. All right, dude, I gotta go. And I'll see you soon.